Every single time you do a search, share a photo, or stream a show, you're bumping up against this invisible web of rules. They quietly shape what you see, what you're allowed to say, and what other people know about you. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and take a look at the forces that are really running our digital world. You know, it really all comes down to this one single, powerful question. I mean, this gets to the heart of it, right? It's all about control, access, and power in this new digital age. And by the end of this, you'll have a much clearer picture of who's pulling the levers. Okay, so first things first, let's get our bearings. We need to understand the world we're actually living in right now, because it's not the industrial age anymore, not by a long shot. We are in a brand new era, a world that is quite literally built on bits and bytes. So, welcome to the information society. This is it. And what that really means is that information isn't just some tool we use anymore. Nope, it's the engine. It's the main currency of our economy, of our culture. In a way, knowledge itself has become the key product. And here's the thing. This new world is a total double-edged sword. For every amazing pro, like having the world's knowledge at our fingertips, or being able to work from anywhere, there's a pretty serious con. We're talking about the digital divide getting wider, the insane spread of misinformation, and of course, the constant risk to our personal data. So, if we're living in this totally new kind of society, it stands to reason we need a new set of rules, right? And that right there is where information policy enters the picture. This is the legal playbook for our digital lives. The best way to think about information policy is like the operating system running in the background of our society. It's this whole collection of laws, principles, and guidelines that decides everything, from who gets to see your data to who actually owns that viral cat video. And it's not like there's just one big rule book. These policies work on 3 totally different levels. You've got the big international agreements, like global copyright treaties. Then you have national laws that control data right here in your country. And it even gets down to the institutional level, like the specific privacy rules at your local library or your university. Okay, and if we're talking about policies that made huge waves, you've absolutely heard of this one, GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation. Now, what was so wild about GDPR wasn't just that it was an EU law, it was that it had teeth, global teeth. It established this radical idea that your data rights travel with you, and that forced companies all over the world, from Silicon Valley to Tokyo, to completely change how they operate. It gave us things like the right to be forgotten, and really shifted the whole conversation about who owns our digital selves. And get this all went down in 2018. I mean, that's not long ago at all. It's a huge reminder that the rule book for our digital world is literally being written right now as we live in it. But, you know, laws only get you so far. Behind every rule, there needs to be a why. There needs to be a moral compass guiding things. And that brings us to the world of information ethics. This is all about the why behind the what. This idea, really pushed forward by the philosopher Rafael Capurro, is all about asking those tough questions. You know, is it right to collect this data? Or are we making sure everyone has fair access? It's basically the conscience that guides everyone from librarians to data scientists. So to make sense of all this, the pros, we're talking librarians, archivists, data stewards, they have this handy little acronym to guide their decisions. It's called PAPA. These 5 letters are the bedrock of their ethical framework. So let's break it down. PAIPA, privacy, access, intellectual freedom, property, and accuracy. But, and this is the really tricky part, these values are constantly in a tug of war. Just think about a social media company. They have to balance your intellectual freedom to post whatever you want against their need for accuracy to fight fake news, all while trying to protect your privacy. Juggling these conflicts is what information ethics is all about. Okay, so we've got the rules, the policies, and we've got the ethics, the moral compass. But what does all of this actually mean for you? How does it empower you as an individual? Well, it all comes down to your fundamental right to know. Yeah, this right to know, it wasn't just given to us on a silver platter. Look at this timeline. This has been a long, hard fight. It goes all the way back to the world's very first freedom of information law in Sweden, way back in 1766, to the UN declaring it a human right in 1948, and right up to modern laws like GDPR. And one of the most powerful tools we have in that fight is freedom of information, or FOI. Basically, it's your legal right to go to the government and ask, hey, what are you doing with my tax dollars? What's going on behind closed doors? It is an absolute cornerstone of keeping governments transparent and accountable. But the idea doesn't stop there.
There's an even bigger movement called access to knowledge, or A2K, and this is a huge global idea. It's based on the principle that all knowledge, scientific breakthroughs, cultural masterpieces, you name it, is a public good, and that we should be tearing down the barriers, like paywalls, that keep people from it.
So what's the real difference between them? How do you tell these two apart? Well, I love this way of thinking about it. FOI is like a specific tool, a legal wrench you use to pry open government records to keep them honest. A2K, on the other hand, is the whole workshop. It's the bigger philosophy that says all knowledge, scientific discoveries, art, history, should be part of a shared commons for everybody. And at the end of the day, all of this, all these rights, they're not just nice ideas. They're anchored in one of the most foundational documents of our time. We're talking Article 19 of the UN's Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which says that seeking out and receiving information is a basic human right. Full stop. And that really brings us to the big question we're all facing every single day in this world that is just drowning in data. Is knowledge a basic human right, something everyone deserves access to? Or has it just become another product to be packaged up, bought, and sold? How we decide to answer that, well, that's going to define everything about the future we're building.